Hello, and thank you for tuning in today. This is the National Family Legacy Podcast. My name is Andy, and today I had the awesome opportunity to sit down with Kyra Stewart, who is the Executive Director here at FSA, that's Family Service Association in Redlands. And we learned so much about the services that they provide and all of the things that they do, from providing food to providing housing to helping with rental assistance. And it was a great conversation, and I'm excited for you to hear it.
Welcome to the National Family Legacy Podcast, where we explore uplifting narratives from organizations making a positive impact in our world. To connect with us or explore further, visit our website at nationalfamilylegacy.org. We're thrilled that you've joined us for today's episode.
Kyra, hello. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. We're here at the FSA Center here in Redlands, California. This morning was really awesome. We saw a bunch of people lined up to get food and other services, so I'm really excited to talk more about that. But before we get into the organization, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got connected to Family Services Association?
Sure, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Charleston, West Virginia, not from Southern California.
Wow.
Probably tell by the accent a little bit. But I have lived in Southern California for 25 years now.
Wow.
So it really is home to me. And I found out about family service because I was actually working as a program director in Riverside County for a nonprofit resource center, which was responsible for a lot of networking events and conferences. And so I would meet a lot of interesting people. And one of my conference participants came up to me and said, "Hey, I just want to make you aware that there's an executive director position. My mom is retiring." So it was all through networking.
Wow.
And in that role, I was responsible for a lot of training, working with nonprofit leaders, again, like networking mixers and a big, huge conference.
Wow.
So I was pretty networked and tuned into the Inland Empire and the nonprofit sector at that
Gotcha.
time in my life. That was around 2014. And heard about the job again, because it's all about who you know, right?
Yeah, totally.
And researched the mission and the history, and it seemed like such a interesting human service agency. My background is all in social service practitioner type work, and I thought it would be a good career growth move. And so I went through a very intense interview process.
Wow.
This agency has never less than 23 board members that are involved in a lot of activities of the organization. So I started in 2014 with that capacity building type background and also some social service work background. And so it was a really good natural fit for my career growth.
That's amazing.
And been here ever since, and just always honored to lead such an agency as this.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I can tell that you worked in a nonprofit before that. What kind of got you interested in the social work world? Because it is a very unique world to be in.
Sure. I started off actually as a criminal justice major.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to become a lawyer. My father was a criminal defense lawyer, retired from that world. And so kind of natural segue, I decided to branch off and focus more on the social work aspect instead of law. And worked as a site manager and a case manager. So I've had every level of experience. I've always been a natural helper. So I've always been interested in making a difference and making an impact in people's lives.
Yeah.
And around the topic of really self-sufficiency. So my own personal background, I was a single mom. I had my son when I was 18. I lost my mom to an unexpected and quick illness at 17.
Wow.
So I came from a divorced family and complicated backstory. And in that, you learn not only survival, but you also kind of have a different type of empathy for people going through that same kind of struggle. I've been a low-income mom myself and pulled myself up through different educational opportunities and always worked really hard. Moved to California, like the whole cliche, with a baby on my hip and literally like $200 in my pocket.
Wow.
Signed up for a temp agency, got a job at Kaiser, and kept moving, through those challenges. So I really like to see people work on their goals, work on their personal goals. I believe education is an outlet and a door that if you utilize it properly, you can advance. And I just am a strong believer, not just in helping others, but giving people the tools to help themselves.
Right. Because often I feel like that might be one of the roadblocks for people. It's not that they don't want to, but maybe they don't have the right resources to pull themselves up.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's amazing to hear your story too, a story of resilience and trying to make it in life through various trials. And tell me a little bit about Family Service Association, how you guys do that here, because I know that a lot of people are here this morning, and a lot of people come here for help. What does it look like every day here at FSA?
So Family Service is what's called a safety net agency. Okay, so we provide basic but vital assistance for low-income families. So we all know the economy in Southern California is both inflationary and recessionary, right? So with that, low-income families are very vulnerable. And even if you work 40 hours a week, for example, if you have a lower paid job, even if you work 40, 50 hours a week plus overtime, you're really still going to be struggling.
Right.
Cost of food, rent, utilities, all of those things. And so we're what's called safety net. So you can come here once you're registered and get clothing, a daily meal, which you guys were able to observe. You can get a monthly food box. And if you fall into crisis with your rent, we have programs that can help pay for 1 or 2 months of emergency rental assistance.
Wow.
Because we really have a fight against homelessness around here as well.
Right.
Just a regional issue. So we have an employment scholarship program and an employment case manager that focuses on how can you beef up your income? How can we get you to a better state with your income, recognizing that we all need a little bit more income, right? So we're not just handing things out.
Right.
Everyone has to register. Everyone has to show that they have a goal and a housing plan and a self-sufficiency goal.
That's amazing. Yeah. I saw on your website, there's a great phrase that said, we're here to give a hand up, not a handout, right?
Yes, that's right.
And the idea is that you're helping people so that at some point they can be a bit more self-sufficient and not have to be with a service like this for their whole life, right? You're trying to get people. That's amazing.
That's what we want. We want just like our employees. I want to see my employees grow, professional growth, and sometimes that means they have another avenue for their career. And though that's sad, we celebrate that. And the same thing with our clients. We want your assistance to be temporary. We don't want to see you year after year after year.
Right, because the moment they don't need this place, that's a good sign, right?
That's a good thing.
They're getting somewhere else in life.
They've flourished.
That's amazing. Now, if you could tell us a little bit about the history of FSA, because I was looking on the website and I saw the 1900s is when it started. So why did it start? How did it start? If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Started by the Smiley brothers. They are twin brothers, Alfred and Albert Smiley. And anyone who's from like the Redlands area or surrounding area or who's ever lived in Redlands knows like Smiley Park, Smiley Library.
Right.
So we were founded by that family who came here from New York City, and they were philanthropists, and they were wealthy. They were obviously landowners, and they wanted to wrap their arms around what was called at that time the ill and destitute. We don't really use that language anymore, and but it was a member-based program where volunteers, all volunteer-led, would pay 25 cents a month and created this fund. And it had a medical component to it, a health and medical component to it, where like visiting nurses would go out into the community and attend to these families who were vulnerable, ill, poor, destitute.
That's amazing.
And they would come back to the member paying board and almost do like a case summary of what they've learned in the community and how much of that fund would be allocated towards each family.
Wow.
And with that, the services and programs evolved and changed over the years. But it was originally founded by Alfred Smiley in 1898.
Wow.
So we are celebrating 127 years of history and service to the community. And yeah, that's
That's
how it
amazing.
started.
Yeah, that is amazing. So you guys are coming from a long history of people making real change here in Redlands. So for the people that come here for services, is there a common story that you see? I know that there's probably a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness or at risk for homelessness.
Sure.
Is that the common story that you see? Are there other components to that? What is it like for the people who come here? Like, what is the common story?
Okay, so everyone who walks through our doors is low income or extremely low income, or maybe just slightly above poverty federal guidelines. So we follow the government standards for those income guidelines, which kind of change and shift from year to year. We focus on households with children under 18, so that's a common profile, and elderly disabled on fixed incomes.
Oh.
And quite frankly, the elderly disabled population is the population right now that is showing the highest growth in homelessness.
Oh, wow.
So that's our focus area, and then we do serve the east and central valley of San Bernardino County. Though we are located in Redlands, we also served Grand Terrace, Mentone, Highland, Yucaipa, Loma Linda, City of Mentone, and when we have funding, the City of San Bernardino.
Nice.
Common profile are people who are working, especially in households with children under 18, people who are working but have fell into like a temporary financial crisis, which could look like a car repair or ran out of PTO at their job and had hours that were unpaid, which caused a shortfall in that month. A lot of single moms, common profile, but also a lot of married families who maybe work the minimum wage job with a big family.
Wow.
That can't sustain all of the costs that it takes to run a family. And then in the elderly population, we see a lot of Social Security retirement. And that, by nature, if you only have that as income and you don't have family around, you're very vulnerable to homelessness because of the housing shortage and housing costs. So those are our two common scenarios.
Got you. And for someone who comes, what is the process of being able to get these services? I heard you said they needed to be registered, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is that like?
We have two programs. Like if you were to lift up and just take an aerial view of what we do, we really only have two programs. The Housing Assistance Program and then the Family Support Program are all the services that wrap around the housing. Low income, of course, the two focus areas I mentioned a minute ago, and then that you're in some type of financial crisis.
Gotcha.
So you start off on our website, redlandsfamilyservice.org, and you answer a few questions, and we do an eligibility questionnaire for you. And then those applications on the website get driven to case managers internally, which then that's when the first contact comes through. Once you're approved for housing, you are also approved for family support, which is things like bus passes, access to scholarships. Of course, the daily meals program is open to everyone, but you can get your your monthly food box. We have classes for kids and activities for kids once you register, enroll, and then you get access to the clothing room, which gives you twice a month access to items.
Wow.
For your family at no cost to you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And to run a operation like this, how many team members do you have? I'm sure you guys have a staff, but then also a volunteer team as well, I'm guessing.
Yes, you guessed right. So there's 18 staff members currently, and we have two offices, one here, one in Yucaipa. And we have last year we counted about 1,000 volunteers, but that includes our big days where we have like 200 and 300 at one time. And yeah, we can't do our work without our volunteers. We have a pretty big volunteer program.
That's awesome. And for someone who wants to volunteer, what is that process like? They just show up
online.
Or
I
online?
have a very technologically savvy team, and I'm so
That's so
glad because
good.
I rely on them. And they're young and ambitious and forward thinking, and so everything starts just redlandsfamilyservice.org.
Right.
If you want to volunteer, you just start by putting your application in, and you can choose what you want to do. We have foot traffic in our food pantry and our clothing room. We always get donations that need sorted and hung up and sized and everything. So everything you you can get started either through services or volunteerism or donation through our website, redlandsfamilyservice.org.
Amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, I can imagine a big operation like this needs people. And of course, it's good to have hired people, but an organization like this definitely needs those volunteers. So I'm glad to hear that you guys have a good volunteer base for sure. What would you say makes FSA unique? Is there anything that you say you guys provide, or maybe even a feeling that you guys give to the people that you serve that makes it unique?
Sure. We're very collaborative. So, as the executive director, I encourage the management team to be open, approachable, because we can't do this work alone, friendly, and brainstorming ways to partner with other agencies so that things aren't perceived as a tattered social service system.
Right. Yeah.
Inland Empire, as you know, is 4 million people strong, with opportunities even for more growth in population. So it's vast and it's huge, and the needs are always going to be greater than the resources, right? And so I just believe, from a social work approach, we won't survive if we don't collaborate. And that's why you see the showers here. And on campus, we invite our faith-based partners here. We invite barbers here to do haircuts once a month. We invite other social service providers on campus. We work with the Department of Behavioral Health that will actually come here to talk to you like our breakfast participants and try to get them substance abuse treatment. But I think, to get back to your question, what makes us incredibly unique is that we are so open and always searching for collaborations, because sometimes leaders get competitive, just like any other line of business. If you're in real estate, or you're in, I don't know, marketing or social media or business to business type of framework work, or healthcare, there's like this underlying tone of competitiveness, like you're going to take my dollars or you're going to take my customers. And in the nonprofit world, that exists too. So I think sometimes executive leaders and management, they get like, no, we're not going to share secrets. We're not going to share program tips. We're not going to share our campus. But we do not work like that here.
Wow.
We
That's
rely
amazing.
on our partners.
That's so good. I previously I worked in the church world, and even in the church world, you see this competitive nature for something that should be a bit more, I would say, free and something that you want to share with everybody. So it is amazing to hear that you guys have this collaborative spirit, because that is very important. And who are some of the people that you guys collaborate with? Because today I saw that there's an organization that brought showers through so that people can get showers. What other programs do you guys provide?
Definitely the local city outreach team. Step Up, who's a nonprofit that focuses mainly on chronically homeless, is a partner. They actually used to have an office here. They recently relocated to a bigger space, but we also collaborate with the barbers who are willing to do free haircuts once a month. We have a partnership with Arrowhead Regional Medical Mobile. They come once a month, and they do medical and healthcare screenings. We have a partnership with an entity called the PAIR Team, who is working on the CalAIM initiative with healthcare. So all of our IEHP and Molina members can get what's called deeper clinical services if they need it. Oh my goodness, the list goes on and on, goes on and on. We have definitely partnerships with our City of Redlands Police. They actually hold our motel vouchers.
Oh, wow.
So if they come across a family with children who are in a dangerous situation, they can write a voucher and we pay the bill.
Wow.
We have a partnership with San Bernardino County Hope Team, which is kind of the same thing, where they carry our vouchers for when they come against families who are in unsafe conditions, and they are empowered to write motels, and then we pay the bill. County partnerships. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, like I said, we're not able to do our work without our volunteers and our partners.
That is amazing. I'd love to learn a little bit more about that program that you said for people who are experiencing homelessness or something going on. You guys pay for motels for those who need that. What is that like, or how did you guys start doing that?
So elephant in the room in the region is that there are not enough shelters. And when there are shelters, a lot of families don't want to go into the shelter because they're either all male, all female and children, and then therefore if you have a boyfriend, spouse,
Right.
husband, you can't go in there together. You get broken up.
Gotcha.
Also, the mental health around sleeping in group settings is a real thing. People have a lot of anxiety and fear, and it's an uncontrolled environment.
Wow.
So you're all sleeping on cots. The lights are out. Who's to say who's going to steal? There's just a lot of factors around not just the shortage in shelter beds, but also who's willing to go into shelter, right?
Wow.
So as a backup, if one of our families who has registered for housing at point of intake is homeless, we have contracts with 6 or 7 different motels that provide discounted rates to
Wow.
us in an invoicing system, and we can place those clients into motels while we figure out resources for them.
Wow. That's amazing.
So that's how that works. And then the hopeful goal is to get them connected to the housing authority, to get them connected to county resources, rent subsidies, and also to our own housing program.
Right. That's amazing. And how many days do they get? Is it like a one night kind of stay? Because I'm sure there's limitations.
Unlimited,
yeah.
right? And so first thing we do is assure. We go do you have anywhere else to stay? Can you stay with a friend? Can you stay with a family member? Are you willing to go into shelter? If they say yes and we call and then the shelter beds are full, last resort is they go to a motel. And we can do up to 30 days.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's at $85 a night. So it's
Wow.
expensive.
Yeah.
And it's worst case, it's like last resort type of
Gotcha.
resource.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense. That's amazing. National Family Legacy is a big fan of all the things that you're doing. I shouldn't say fan. We
so
support
grateful,
what you guys do. Yeah. And this is very important work. What I admire about it is that you guys are there fighting for good. You're there in a world where people are experiencing a lot of hurt and a lot of turmoil. You guys are at the forefront trying to provide some hope and peace and, a hand up. And so we really believe in the work that you guys are doing. I believe that NFL provided a donation. Are you able to share what that donation went towards, or maybe it was a project you could share with us?
Absolutely. Well, housing goes into emergency rental assistance,
Right.
the motel program, a little bit of staffing costs. Obviously, we can't do our work without our case managers, but housing is expensive. And so if someone's behind, right, even 1 month of rent, we rely on our private foundations, our government partners, city partners, obviously, and then our event fundraising to supplement the cost of running that housing program.
Right.
So, for example, the cost of a decent 2-bedroom apartment, what do you think that would be? Just
man.
your best guess.
I'm guessing,
in our area.
Probably more than 1,500 or something.
Oh, you're lucky to find
Yeah.
it at 1,500. So last year we provided that type of service for about 200 families, and we paid 308 months of rent total.
Wow.
So you can do the math.
Yeah.
That's more than 1/3 of our budget getting paid out to landlords to save and stabilize those families. So every dollar that we can get normally gets allocated towards housing and motels.
Wow. That's
Yes.
amazing. Well, that is a very important cause for sure. And I'm sure that for the families that receive those funds, I'm sure that is nothing short than a huge help,
Sure.
And I'm sure they're having troubles at work or whatever their story may be, to have like a month or 2 months of rent paid for them, that I'm sure that's so amazing. And in fact, we're getting close to the end of this episode. But in the next episode, we'd love to hear some of the stories that you guys have, because I'm sure that you have a lot of experiences that you could share with us of people that have experienced help here at FSA. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
But thank you for your time. It's
Thank
been so
you.
good to hear from you and about this organization. And we're really excited for the next episode where we can hear about some of the stories.
Oh, I'm so happy you guys are here today and that we're able to host you and that you can visually see the
Yes.
action that happens on our campus. So
Yeah.
thank you as well.
Of course. Thank you.